Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So how's your year been?
How my year has been?
Just kidding.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know that. Thank you
Very
so much for doing this. I was trying to picture your New Year's Day. You know, you sort of envision the year ahead, and I bet you didn't call this one on New Year's Day. So you are now in charge of the Venezuelan economy. I should say, for those who don't know your bio, you were head of the country's central bank at 34 and weathered hyperinflation and a lot of other twists and turns. So I think it sounds like you're the man for the job. But let's just start on January 3rd, the day that all of this began. Where were you that day, and what was your experience of it?
Well, I was in Caracas. I'm coming from a Catholic family, and those days are very important for us, for family reunion. So I had in my house my mother, my father, my sister, my nieces, of course my little kids. And it was an event that, you know, is at a dark point in our history now, but we try to move forward and somehow build opportunities for economy under the situation we have to face.
Did you know what was happening that day?
Well, you know, I woke up in the middle of the night and the events were passing very fast, and just following the news and the statements of the authorities. And, you know, it was a very extraordinary situation, but the Venezuelan people and the authorities have shown that they are ready peacefully to move forward and to build opportunities for our people and for the welfare of the Venezuelan people.
So now you're in charge, as noted, of the Venezuelan economy, quite a portfolio at this point. The defining fact, I think, of the economy for more than a decade has been U.S. sanctions, which were very strict, and they were levied with the idea they would destabilize the regime. Obviously, they didn't. It took Delta Force and directed energy weapons to take out the regime. So they didn't actually affect political change, but they did constrain, they defined your economy. Are they, I'm a little bit confused, are they American sanctions still in place?
Well, so due to my former responsibility as a central bank head, I had the opportunity to see and to you know, to be in the front line on while all this was happening. I'm talking about restrictions, sanctions, accusations, the lack of access to your own resources. In 2018, when I started at the central bank, we have hyperinflation, we have scarcity levels that probably that was something that everybody read in the news. But the story that is not being shown in the news is like we defeat hyperinflation. We now we have scarcity levels the lowest. We have like a regular, normal economy right now. And just to give you an example, in 24, when the sanctions were eased, there were some, you know, how do you call it, OFAC licenses to do some, to leave the economy functioning like a normal country. We have readings in inflation and, for example, inflation and exchange rate in 2024 show the best reads in 40 years, since the mid-80s. I'm talking about a time where in the mid-80s, Venezuela have access to her international reserve, international markets, everything. But in 24, without access to anything, just to, you know, just to have able the private sector to function like a regular country, we have the lowest inflation in 40 years, and the exchange rate was very stable. So as of today, sanctions are, there are some general licenses that are allowing now private sector to invest in Venezuela, to trade with oil and gas. And Venezuela is ready to receive investment now. One of the first decisions that interim President Delcy Rodriguez took was to go to the National Assembly and ask for a reform to the hydrocarbon law.
Yes.
And it was already sanctioned, the law, and this law will allow international investors to go to Venezuela with favorable conditions, with legal assurance of their investments. And we want to, to build upon this, because Venezuela, under sanctions, was leading. This is something that you will not read in the news as well. Venezuela, the last 5 years, according to United Nations entities, the CEPAL, the Commission for Latin American Economy, Venezuela had led 3 of the last 5 years the growth, GDP growth in Latin America, and that was under sanctions. So the economy is ready for investment. The economy is ready. Economic agents, private sector is ready to build up a better future for the Venezuelan people.
And I want to ask you about the foreign investment, but as an American, I can't help but wonder how quickly are those restrictions being withdrawn? I mean, the U.S. Congress,
Yes.
White House levy sanctions a lot. Once they affect regime change, do they pull them back, and have they pulled them back? And where are we on that?
Yeah. Well, there is a functional government in Venezuela. It's led by President Delcy Rodriguez, and we are facing. So we know how to deal with these restrictions, because that's what we have to do. That was our reality. And what we are experiencing right now is that this U.S. institution have a lot of experience putting restrictions, accusations, and having lists and putting you in this list. But when it comes to taking down or trying to open doors for a new relationship, then it's a process, and we are working on it. But I think it's working in the direction that it should have ever been. U.S. companies, U.S. investors having the opportunity to go to Venezuela, which is a natural market. Venezuela is a natural market for all neighbors, including the United States.
So I mean, to the extent you can say, or that you know right now, how exactly will that work? The U.S. president, my president, Donald Trump, has said that the revenue from oil production in Venezuela will go to the United States and then be allocated to the government of Venezuela and to the extractors, to the American oil companies. What is the plan? Is that the plan?
So the government, the interim president Delcy Rodriguez, announced the creation of 2 sovereign funds. One is going to be used for the Venezuelan welfare. I'm talking about salaries and the
Yes.
policy in regards to directly helping the Venezuelan people to overcome all what happened due to these sanctions. The other sovereign fund will be related to infrastructure. I'm talking about electricity projects, roads, and so on. So that's what we're expecting to see in the coming month.
And is it the government of Venezuela that will decide how that money is split, how it's allocated?
Yes, yes. There is only one functional government in Venezuela, and it's led by our authorities, and they are under control. One example to this reality is that after the events of the last month, Venezuela is peacefully moving forward and ready to receive investment and trying to compete in the market, in the international market, like every other player. When I'm telling you about the economic growth in Venezuela and how we lead the region, this comparison is with countries that don't have the restrictions that we had. So,
Right.
So we hope that the growth is going to be really, really fast.
So I suspect you hope not just to extract more oil, but to increase refinery capacity, petrochemicals.
Yes.
Requires a ton of investment, much more profitable, obviously,
Yes.
in the long run.
We would like to be, we know that the reference for Venezuela is that the country with the biggest oil reserve. And we want to stop being known about this, and we want to be known as one of the countries with the highest production levels, and use the model, for example, of this country that use these revenues to, diversify the economy.
So when you speak, as I know you are speaking, to potential entrants into your market, big companies from abroad, including the United States, what are they asking you to assure before they commit these massive capital investments?
I think that what they were waiting is for sanctions to be lifted. And,
Right.
And of
Why is that
course,
so hard again? I mean, if your former president's in an American jail, why do we still have sanctions?
I'm sure that there will be room for that kind of question to be addressed in Venezuela if you would like to visit. And
You're
see
very
about
diplomatic. Okay.
But I think it's a great opportunity right now for investors. The first one who enter in the market right now will be the ones who will benefit the most, and we're ready. Venezuela is ready.
So I think the question everyone from the outside, including me, well, first is the gratitude that Venezuela seems to be stable, and all these horror shows we've seen around the world after regime change that has not happened in Venezuela. Everyone on the planet is grateful for that. But in order to keep stability, what does the country need, do you think?
So stability has been in Venezuela political, economically since at least the last 6 years. Economically speaking, we are solid and ready for investment. As long as the Venezuelan people, it's allowed to have a normal life, to stop make them to live under restrictions that doesn't help to anybody, because it doesn't help the Venezuelan people, it doesn't help the country that imposed those restrictions, it doesn't help anybody. The economy will grow, and the welfare of the Venezuelan people will increase. We have data, for example, I talk about the GDP, but we have data on Venezuelan consumption levels, and it's increased every year, has been increasing. So families are better, and if we are allowed, our economy is allowed to function like a regular one, competing with the rest of the markets, is going to be an improvement. We're going to see improvement in Venezuelan welfare.
So just to put a very fine point on this conversation, the thread throughout it is, in order to maintain stability in Venezuela, which is in everyone's interest across the world, you need to pull back the sanctions, which achieve the opposite of their intended effect. They did dislodge the political leadership. That was by force. It just hurt the people there. It hurt the country that issued the sanctions, the United States. It weakened the dollar. And so in order to go forward on terms that help everybody, Venezuela needs to be allowed to re-enter international markets on equal terms without sanctions. That's what you're saying.
And allow us to have access to our own assets. For example, when I was running the central bank, I didn't have access to international reserve.
Yeah, I know.
It was not something about having like international access to international markets. We didn't have access to our own money, and if you allow us to function like a regular country, Venezuela will show an extraordinary improvement and growth, and it will be an example of growth.
I believe that. Mr. Vice President, thank you. If you ran the central bank at 34 through hyperinflation, then you're equal to the job you have, which is an amazing job. So Godspeed.
Thank you. Thank you. Amen to that. Thank you.